You guys may have seen the movie Hacksaw Ridge. You thought to yourself, man, Hollywood sure can take a story and exaggerate it. However, Desmond Doss's story is larger than real life. Hollywood did compress parts of his life and change a few personal details, but the most unbelievable parts of the movie, an unarmed medic repeatedly returning through enemy fire to save wounded soldiers, that came from the real story and is written in his Medal of Honor citation. Hollywood did not invent the hero. It struggled to fit this hero, this man, into one movie successfully. Desmond Doss was a Seventh-day Adventist from Lynchburg, Virginia. That's right, home of Liberty University. When the United States entered World War II, Doss was working in a shipyard. Because his work directly supported the war effort, he could have accepted a deferment and remained home with his family. Instead, he chose to join the United States Army. Doss believed that his Christian faith did not allow him to kill another person. He refused to carry a gun. He did not refuse to serve his country. He wanted to become a medic and save lives instead of taking them. The Army classified him as a conscientious objector. Doss disliked that description because he was not objecting to military service. He preferred to call himself a conscientious cooperator. That difference mattered to him. He was willing to wear the uniform, follow his unit into combat, and place his own life in danger. He simply refused to take the life of someone else. Basic training was made incredibly difficult by his beliefs. Some soldiers mocked him and believed that a man who refused to carry a weapon would become a danger to the entire unit. They threw shoes at him while he prayed. They called him a coward. They tried to have him removed from the army. Even his leadership thought he was going to fail and tried to have him removed. He refused to quit. Before Okinawa, he served as a combat medic in Guam and in Leyte. Those campaigns are mostly missing from the movie that Hollywood made, but they proved that Doss was willing to walk into enemy fire to reach wounded soldiers. Then came the Battle of Okinawa in 1945. Doss's unit attacked the Maida Escarpment, a steep, fortified position that American soldiers came to call Hacksaw Ridge. The men climbed the cliff using cargo nets, while Japanese troops waited above them in caves, tunnels, and held defensive positions. When artillery, mortar fire, and machine gun struck the Americans at the top, the attack collapsed. The soldiers who could still move began retreating down the ridge as fast as they could. There were still wounded men scattered all across the battlefield. Desmond Doss stayed behind. This man had no rifle. All he had, medical supplies, a rope, and the belief that he could not abandon the wounded. He could not leave his brothers in arms to die. For hours, Desmond Doss crawled through the battlefield searching for survivors. He treated their injuries. He dragged them towards the edge of the cliff, tied them to a rope sling, and lowered them to the soldiers waiting below. Then he went back for another man, and another, and another. As he searched the battlefield, Doss prayed, "Lord, please help me get one more." The exact number of men he saved that day remains uncertain. Doss believed he rescued about 50 men. The Army believes the number may have been even closer to 100. Then eventually they settled on an estimated 75, meeting in the middle. His courage did not end on Hacksaw Ridge. On another occasion, Doss traveled roughly 200 yards beyond the American lines to rescue a wounded soldier. 2 days later, he moved through grenade fire until he was only a few yards from an enemy position and treated 4 wounded men and made separate trips under fire to bring them back. On May 21st, 1945, a grenade seriously wounded both of Doss's legs. He treated his own injuries and waited about 5 hours for litter bearers to reach him. As they carried him away, Doss saw another wounded soldier who appeared to be in worse condition. He rolled off the litter and told the men, "Carry that soldier instead." And while Doss waited, an enemy round shattered his arm. He used the stock of a rifle as a splint, even though he had refused to carry the weapon himself. He then crawled 300 yards towards an aid station. On October 12, 1945, President Harry Truman presented Desmond Doss with the Medal of Honor. His official citation cited repeated bravery under enemy fire and credited him with saving approximately 75 soldiers. Doss became the first conscientious objector to receive the Medal of Honor. Although His cooperator status remained the description he preferred. Desmond Doss never fired a bullet. He never carried a weapon into battle. But armed men could no longer continue to cross that ridge. Doss stayed behind, and he brought every one of them that he could home. Hollywood may have changed parts of his childhood, courtship, and military timeline, but it did not invent his courage. The real story was already impossible to believe. Courage is not always about taking a life. Sometimes it means risking your own life to help save one more. History is weird. History is fun. Subscribe and share. I hope you brought snacks. Get ready to ride this timeline, and many timelines to come, friends.